What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic CM. It's episode number 110 and we start today's stuff with our Champions League quarterfinal first leg away against Atletico Madrid, an all Spanish affair. See, Dortmund have got Juventus, you've got Bayern versus Real Madrid, some blockbuster ties here with of course our former team Arsenal, who won the competition last year, taken on by Leverkusen, and a big tie there as well. So yeah, heading into the game, I think I've mentioned this before, the Metropolitano is one of my favourite stadiums in FIFA, and one of the main reasons why is because, well, firstly it's a beautiful stadium regardless, but you get these tunnel shots before the game and they look fantastic, especially before and pre a big game. It looks fantastic, and I mentioned many times before, I definitely think that's something that EA need to realise, because the sooner they do, I think the bigger improvements you'll see to particularly this game mode. I feel like immersion is the key when playing something like FIFA CM, and when you have shots like that, you know, you have exterior shots of certain stadiums like the Etihad, the Bernabeu, Old Trafford, so on, you know, they really add immersion to the game, where you see the world outside of just the pitch and the stands from the inside, you know. So yeah, Metropolitano, one of my favourite stadiums to play in, mainly because of, again, those tunnel shots pre-game. They look fantastic. Anyway, heading to the game, obviously, as we know, in the last round against Liverpool in the round of 16, that was one of the most dramatic European ties I've had in FIFA 21. That was so dramatic and so fun to play, where Keane, of course, rescued us. We came out from 2-0 down at Anfield to win 3-2 in the dying seconds and make it through to this round. Fatty missed that second leg away in England because of injury. He was back in the team for this first leg here, and he got our first goal as well. And soon after we went 1-0 up, Mark Cucurella blasts one in into the top corner, and we were 2-0 up half an hour in. I mentioned before, man, like Cucurella was really good last year, but I think the reason why, like, I never really understood or realised why he was so good is because I was more focused on this man on the ball here, Pedro Porro. But after that ACL, Cucurella, you know, a friendship ended with Porro. Now Cucurella is my favourite wide midfielder. I love this guy to pieces, man. You know, he made it 2-0. Porro almost got our third goal in the second half. Great save by Justin Bilo, kept the Atletico only down by 2. And after Nicolo Barriello was denied by a great save by Ter Stegen, Atletico pushed for a route back into the game and into the tie in the second half. This header by Presnel Kimpembe going inches wide of our left-hand post. It was still 2-0, and in the end, we had a pretty lackluster second half, I must admit. I tried to catch Barlow out from the halfway line with Pedri, not the worst attempt in the world, but I mentioned before, you know, the reason why I don't include my halfway line attempts as much as I used to is because I just don't really get very close anymore. Back in the old days of FIFA, when the gameplay was, you know, admittedly a lot more arcade based as opposed to simulation, it was a lot easier to go close, and of course I managed to do it once with Nathaniel Klein in my FIFA 14 career mode. But yeah, it's a lot more difficult now. If you do go close, it's normally sort of like tipped over the bar by the goalkeeper reasonably comfortably for him to deal with. And I think I've mentioned before, as we won the game by 2-0, I think the main reason why it's so much harder now is because the goalkeepers don't stray off their line like they used to nowadays. They're practically rarely ever outside of their penalty area, unless you are in your own penalty area on the other side of the pitch. Otherwise, even if you're, you know, like, again, in your first third of the pitch, just outside your own penalty area and about halfway between the penalty area and the halfway line, they're still normally, like, again, on the edge of their box. If you look at the radar here, like, we're so far away. We're not even we weren't close to the halfway line there, and yet the goalkeeper was still well inside his area. And I think the main reason why that is Fatty scores his second in 2 here against Eibar to give us the lead in our return game at the new camp in La Liga. I think the main reason why is because, as we know, like, FIFA has changed so much over the years, and EA have done everything they can to make it what you call esports ready and a recognisable esports game. I think they've tried to eradicate everything in the game that would make it, you know, sort of laughable, if you will, when considered to be an esports game. If you remember when it was first sort of like becoming an esports game, at the time many people were picking out flaws with the animations and the physics of the game and saying, how can this be esports ready when it's just not realistic enough for football? And they've done like a really great job over the past 2-3 years of making the game a lot more, again, realistic in the gameplay, and yeah, a lot of those flaws and, again, inadequacies being eradicated. It's come at the expense of, like, a lot of personal enjoyment for players like me, though. I'll be honest, having a general chat here today as we're 1-1 here against Eibar until Ferran Torres with 15 minutes to go. The relief on my face when I blasted this in, man. So he couldn't break down Eibar in the second half. We've got a couple of great chances. Great save on Fati, but then Ferran Torres, former Man City winger, coming up big, giving us the win as we continue to chase that points record this season. But yeah, it's come at the expense of quite a bit of enjoyment for someone like myself. Like, don't get me wrong, I still really enjoy the game. I think more than anything, I just enjoy building teams. That's probably become my main favourite part of the game mode now, is building teams, developing squads, and just having fun with it, and obviously creating content. My pure passion in life, to be honest. But the one thing, again, I would definitely say is that I did prefer the gameplay when it was more arcade-based back in the day, where you could bang in like 40-yard free kicks, and again, you could sometimes catch the goalkeeper out from the halfway line. It just seemed a bit more sort of like fun to play, as opposed to being a bit more, I don't know how to describe it now. Again, I think it's a little bit more serious now, especially when you play online. I don't play online as much as I used to now. Whenever I do, firstly, I'm losing connection to the servers all the time. Some of you guys ask me why I don't play and don't do online series. The main reason why is because, as I mentioned before, now I live in a house share. The internet is like constantly dipping in and out. I lose connection to the EA servers like every 15 minutes, so it's rare I get to complete a game. But yeah, even so, it's just, again, it's harder to do the things that were bizarre at times, which I was able to do back in the day. Again, mainly because the game back then was a lot more arcade based, and it's not quite the same game anymore, but you still get a lot of fun out of it. And heading into the third and final game of today's episode here, this would be the second leg of our Champions League quarter-final tie on the back of the win against Eibar against Atletico. So Simeone's side coming to take us on in this one, needing to score 2 after our first leg win in Metropolitano. They got 1 early through João Felix, the Portuguese forward, and then we hit the bar twice in a matter of seconds. First Fati stepping in to shoot with the right, and then Moise Kean heading it against the crossbar, as it was still 1-0 to Atletico. It was a shame as well, because Felix had their only real chance in the first half. Other than that, it was Barcelona dominance. I just couldn't finish. Dembele this time chipping over Bilo, but also over the goal and onto the roof of the net. And with 3 minutes to go before the break, still down by a goal. As things stand, we didn't need to get another goal, but I wanted that 2-goal cushion restored, and as Dembele slid through Kean, he ran forward, and this time, finally the 4th time of asking, I took my chance, found the back of the net, and gave us some breathing room right before the break. Kean this season, I mentioned before, it was so harsh to drop him to the bench, but I think I made the right call, considering how good Leandro's been, second highest scorer in the league and top assist maker as well. But whenever we have played Kean, he's always done really well. He's just a constant source of goals, never lets me down, just like he did last season as well. So yeah, tied at 1-1 now, restored our 2-goal cushion on aggregate, almost got ourselves a second goal to turn the game on its head through Juan Martinez. The skill of this guy, man, unbelievable. We just couldn't bend it in towards that far corner. So still 1-1 with 24 minutes to go. Atletico trying to get back in the game. They needed 2 more goals to go for on the away goal ruling, and they had a couple of great chances through the American Josh Sargent as well. He spurned his first one, and I was thinking, what a let off there. How did he not hit the target? Still tied at 1-1 with 13 minutes to go. It was played through by Gravenberg, and this time did hit the target and the back of the net as well. So 13 minutes to go in pretty balanced game, all things considered. Atletico needed to score 2 goals on the night. They got the 2 goals on the night, but due to Keane's first half strike, they now need another. However, if they were to get that, then they would go through on the away goal ruling. So for the final 12 minutes, I just played lockdown defense, back to the wall, did everything I could to prevent Atletico getting another clear-cut chance, and thankfully, in stoppage time after Eric Garcia made a crucial interception, hoofed the ball into stands. Normally I'll play out from the back and do everything I can to retain possession. Not that moment. I was like, clear it into Rose Ed, Bobby Zamora style, man. Get that ball as far away from the pitch as you can, and referee blows full time, and that would do it. We are through to the Champions League semi-finals, as are Bayer Leverkusen, who beat our former team and holders Arsenal, Juventus, and also Real Madrid as well. Back in the final 4 for the 3rd time in 3 years, after reaching the Champions League semi-final with Arsenal being knocked out by Dortmund, then last year with Barcelona being knocked out by Hertha Berlin. This year, have we got another German side? Will we taken on by Leverkusen, or will we have Real Madrid or Juventus? Well, as you can see in the semi-final, we'll be taking on... There it is, it's Juventus, so not our El Clasico rivals, who will meet in the Copa Del Rey Final in the very next game. That's a 1-game special. Not Bayer Leverkusen, who we faced a few times already this series with both Barcelona and Arsenal, who of course we had in the group as well, but instead it will be Juventus. Ronaldo might have gone, he might have retired in the save, but still a fantastic team. We'll have them in the final 4 of the Champions League. Can we finally get over the hurdle in the 8th season? Can we finally reach our first Champions League final? Well, we're going for the quadruple, not just a treble, and we got a chance to win a domestic double in our very next game. In the Copa Del Rey Final, we got Real Madrid as we aim to retain the first trophy we won with Barcelona last season. But that will end this episode of the Realistic CM, guys. Big thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please drop a like. Most love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic CM, going for our second trophy this season, Real Madrid in the Copa Del Rey Final very soon.